Hello everyone. This paper is titled The Effects of Visualization Level and Situational Visibility in Collocated Digital Musical Ensembles and is presented by Florent Berthaut from the Université de Lille and Dahl from the University of Virginia. In this paper, we present a study on how visualization can be used to help improve musicians' experience of awareness when performing with digital musical instruments in small ensembles. Specifically, we investigate the effect of visualization level and situational visibility. These terms will be explained as we proceed.
As you know, digital technologies allow us to create digital musical instruments whose form, interface, and sonic output are not constrained by the physical requirements that limit the design of acoustic instruments. So this is great. But there are, of course, some challenges. Often audiences are unable to comprehend how a musician's actions affect the resulting sounds. And in the case of spontaneous jam sessions, where the musicians may be unfamiliar with the other musicians' instruments, it can be challenging for these musicians themselves to understand which other musician is making which sound. For the musicians and for the audience, we can frame this problem as a lack of sufficient means of awareness. We can define awareness as the ability to perceive and understand the actions of other actors within a collaborative environment. There are a number of techniques that might help facilitate awareness amongst musicians. We can arrange the performance space so that musicians can see each other. This affords some amount of awareness, but doesn't necessarily help with understanding other musicians' instruments. We can help facilitate awareness by creating task-specific artifacts that are visible to the participants. One common way is to deploy graphical displays that depict each musician's activity as they perform. In this paper, we will call these displays visualisations. We're interested in understanding how visualizations can be used to improve awareness amongst participants. But we also need to take into account the interacting effects of the visualizations and how these are situated within the physical performance space, which leads us to define what we call situational visibility. Situational visibility is the design space that encompasses the physical arrangement of the performance space and the placement of visualizations within that space, with respect to how these affect visibility amongst participants. We conducted a study with the goal of understanding how visualizations can be used with existing instruments or incorporated into new instruments in order to facilitate awareness and improve the experience of collective music making. In our study, we considered two aspects of visualizations. The first is what we call the visualization level, which can be external or internal. We will describe these shortly. And the second is how these visualizations are displayed within the performance space, i.e. situational visibility, which we just defined.
5 groups of 3 musicians took part in our experiment. Each group played during 8 sessions of at least 3 minutes, corresponding to the 8 different experimental conditions. During each session, they improvised around 3 collaboration tasks. They all played with the same instrument, composed of 3 tracks and 15 input controls. We then used the questionnaire to evaluate their feeling of a shared musical experience, their awareness, which is the understanding of what the other musicians were doing, their ability to accomplish the task, and their perceived usefulness of the visualization. We also recorded and analyzed the logs of interactions of the groups during each condition. We finally gathered informal feedback after each condition through video recording.
One set of conditions in our study is the visualization level. An external visualization provides visual information based on the musician's input to the instrument, i.e. their control gestures, as well as the resulting sound output. We note that for many DMIs, this data could be easily gathered. The internal visualization provides information based on the internal states of the various modules that make up the instrument, and thus can provide much more detailed information. However, it requires access to information that is internal to the instrument, and this may not be accessible with some DMIs, such as commercial instruments. The following 2 videos show examples of the internal and external visualizations that we designed for the instrument used in this study. Here we see the musician controlling the rhythmic track. The scrolling display conveys aspects of the spectrum and loudness of the sound output, and the activity bar at the bottom shows when the musician changes an input parameter. Here we see the internal visualization for the rhythmic track. The 3 shapes represent the 3 percussion sounds, and they're changing activity, pitch, and loudness. There are similar visualizations for the melodic and granular tracks.
These 2 visualization levels were combined with various conditions of situational visibility. The first 2 involve no visualization at all, with other musicians either hidden or visible. One condition involved only the visualization without visible musicians. In the two remaining conditions, both visualizations and other musicians are visible. The visualizations are displayed either near each musician's instrument so that they can see all activity without looking up, or they are overlapped with the physical musicians using an optical combiner. Our first hypothesis was that using internal visualization would lead to a better experience of collective music making, because it provides more detailed visibility of the contribution and actions of each musician in the ensemble. Our second hypothesis was that overlapped visualization, where the musicians can see the visualization collocated with the physical musician, would lead to a better collective music making experience, because it affords both nonverbal communication and added information. We performed a Bayesian analysis of the questionnaires. We found strong evidence of an effect of visualization level on perceived usefulness and awareness. Internal visualization was found more useful and seemed to provide a higher awareness of what the other musicians were doing. The activity logs revealed a higher activity in conditions of situational visibility where both the visualization and the other musicians were visible. From the informal feedback, we found three main themes emerging. The first is the absence of consensus on the need to look at each other during the sessions. The second is the usefulness of the internal visualization, which, according to participants, helped them understand and even anticipate the actions of others thanks to the shared symbolic representation. The third theme was the shift in focus due to the visualization from active listening to a more cerebral and reflective practice. Our study suggests that when designing visual augmentations or collaborative interfaces for digital ensembles, one should prefer internal symbolic visualization that will increase awareness. This visualization should rather be displayed in the same location and combined with the view of other musicians. One should keep in mind that they might, however, shift the focus in collective music making from active listening to a more cerebral process. In our opinion, a promising ally for research is the design of unified symbolic representations of the internal mechanisms of instruments, which might increase awareness in the case of heterogeneous digital ensembles.
Thank you for your attention, and please check out the paper which goes into more detail and depth. More info on this and related projects can be found at bf-colab.net.